Hi, and welcome to another Entourage.com video. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Adam and Joe of Xtreme Xperience, a company whose focus is to take individuals on an extreme journey into the world of exotic cars, track, racing, and a little bit more about what the exotic car experience is all about. And both of them are under 30 with now a 7-figure business. So welcome to the show, guys. We appreciate you being on.
Thanks for having us.
So let's kind of start by telling your audience a little bit about what it is exactly that you guys do, because not everyone's familiar with, that kind of business. A lot of people know what car rentals are, but you're far from a car rental agency. So tell us a little bit about what the experience is all about and what Xtreme Xperience does so much better than its competitors.
All right, I'll go ahead and take this one. So the Xtreme Xperience it's about 3 major principles that we kind of put together. We decided that we wanted to bring supercars to the masses, kind of make the unattainable attainable, and the format that we decided to do that was on real racetracks. So we decided to bring real supercars to real racetracks, and then we add real professional instruction to the mix to help people actually really push these cars around a racetrack, understand what's like a hard grade corner, and then accelerate out of it, apex, and everything like that. So the experience itself is really focused around putting you in an environment that's safe, but where these cars can really thrive, and you can feel the racing heritage of a Ferrari or a Porsche, and push it as hard as these cars are meant to really be driven. So that's kind of the format of the program. We provide a classroom beforehand, so everybody understands racing fundamentals, safety stuff, basic car control, and about the racetrack they're driving and the car they're driving. And then we put them in the car with a professional instructor, and then they get to go out and drive 3 laps as fast as they can, as fast as their skill level can accommodate. And then they come back in the pit, they can jump in another car, and so on and so on. So,
so really, the Xtreme Xperience is more about almost like track racing and teaching. So there's like more of the education level behind taking some cars that people usually can't afford or may want to try a different car perhaps, and then get onto the track and really get the feel for the car and also learn something along the way.
Yeah, because, and I'm sure we'll touch this later, but it's kind of what separates us from any other experiences out there. It's anybody can buy a fleet of expensive cars and have people come drive them. There's plenty of other companies out there. So we decided to really make it more about the experience of driving these cars and driving them hard, and then providing the racetrack as a place to do that. So I don't know if you want to touch anything else on that, but no, we'll get to that.
So does Xtreme Xperience offer just driving on track, or do you guys do events off track as well, and ways for people to kind of meet each other and go on tours across country with cars? Any of such things?
Currently, we are exclusively a racetrack experience.
So you're currently 100% on track, not off track.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So why did you guys decide to start this kind of business? Can you walk us a little bit through how you guys got started? Because you're both very young.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, like you mentioned, kind of a transformation. Don't all great ideas kind of happen on accident, but we were in the luxury car rental industry, so got into that not necessarily because I was a car guy, but because I like some flashy stuff. We're young and we wanted to have fun, and we said having fun by ourselves is kind of lonely. Let's share this with other people. But we learned pretty quickly that there were a lot of different types of people out there, and the majority of them wanted what we had and wanted to do it with us, but on their own terms, so to speak. They wanted to do it safely. It is not always the safest place to do this. They wanted to do it quickly. The street's not always the place to do it that. They wanted to do it at a price point that made sense to them. So we listened, we came up with some ideas, and we built this program to say, hey, you can experience it at whatever level you want to, a low level or a high level, but we're going to give you that opportunity so that nobody's excluded, and that's kind of how people learn.
Very cool. And this business started only a few years ago, correct?
We were in the rental industry 24 months ago. So actually, we, as Xtreme Xperience, we celebrated our first birthday 1 month ago. We are 13 months old.
So since 15 months ago, what kind of annual revenue are you guys building up for Xtreme Xperience?
We are working right now on, our goal is the last 12 months or the next 12 months about $4.5 million, and that's just year one.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about what it takes to be in this type of business, because we've had a few people on the show that were in the luxury car rental business, so we have a good understanding of how that business works and how people actually, ultimately, how the business profits and how the actual structure of the business works. Now, this kind of business is a little bit different because now you're actually putting people in scenarios where they're more likely or less likely, since they're being educated, to crash the cars, but in a sense more likely a risk to you because you're putting them on a track ultimately and because of the speeds. So how does a business like yours deals with, how do you go about buying insurance, and how does that process work alone in this compared to the luxury car market?
You want me to take that anyway? You can take it. Well, some of that is proprietary, but no, the idea behind it is that with the dedicated instruction, which, like Joe mentioned, is one of the pillars that we built our experience on, that makes it both easier and harder. It gives us the opportunity to get our customers and our company on the same page. We both want the same thing at the end of the day, and that's to become better drivers, which will in turn help us enjoy and experience the car better. That being said, insurance companies like us a little bit more because we're teaching you. We're not just handing you the keys and saying impress somebody. You'll impress yourself at the end of the day, and that's what we're more proud to say you'll do. We have different levels of insurance, of course. You know, a lot of that we provide to you when you come to our experience, but we also offer you the opportunity to purchase experience through our company when you drive our car. And that just gives you a little bit more peace of mind that, hey, I know I'm going to learn, but I'm going to let myself have some fun because at the end of the day, there is a certain level of protection. We offer different levels and scenarios of that. That's all something that you can decide, you know, to make a reservation with that.
But from a business standpoint, how do you actually, what I mean is, do you have to have a major policy to cover all the cars? Do you have to insure each car separately? How does that process work? Like when you go to an insurance agent, right, and you say, hey, we have 10 cars, we're going to let random people race them that come and get educated to our workshop. So I'm sure they understand the logistics of that, but is that something that is a huge expense for a business like this, and is that ultimately done on an individual basis or on a group basis?
Well, the first thing is, you know, we do have to have liability insurance at the racetracks. So there's a couple of very specific companies out there that offer racetrack insurance. That was one of the hard parts, is finding that company. And then you have to really build a company, a program that they're willing to insure, which is why we, you know, touched on that. The actual, you know, the instruction part is crucial, you know, and of course helmets and everything like that. And we work with the racetracks as well on that. So there's that liability side of it. Then there's also the insuring damage to the cars part of it, which we pass on to the customer in a certain respect. You know, you can purchase various levels of insurance through our company. You know, it starts at $39. You get that gets you like a $5,000 deductible, and that covers you up to $50,000. So that's like the low end entry level insurance. Up to high level insurance, which costs a couple $100, and at that point it's deductible.
The deductible is only $500, but it covers almost $250,000.
Yeah. So we have to put some sort of responsibility back on the customer, so that if they do, you know, if they're not listening, and anytime we've ever had an incident, it's solely because they're the guy that comes out and says, you know, I drive a sports car, I know how to do this, you know, I play Gran Turismo, I watch Top Gear. And then they come out, tune out the instructor completely, and then they're the ones who go up, spin it off a racetrack, rip a bumper off a Lamborghini, and, you know, now we're talking about insurance. So you know,
it's ultimately like risk mitigation. You take, you know, who's most likely, I guess, to crash the car, and you make sure they have the right policy, so if they do, then they end up, you know, not actually being in the hole or able to not hurt your business. Is insurance ultimately the most expensive aspect of running a business like yours?
You asked, is it the most expensive?
Yeah, what are some of the costs associated with running a business like this outside of the cars? We know that obviously cars are extremely expensive, especially the caliber of cars you guys offer, but outside of that, what are the real costs of operations? Like, what are they? What is it that you spend your revenue on?
Well, we've got a few, and actually, you know, costs that make us unique. The racetracks. you cannot just walk onto a racetrack, throw them 20 bucks, and walk away with a day on the track. That's a significant expense, but it's one that we will never deviate from because that's where we want to teach you how to drive. That brings up number two, my second biggest expense generally after cars and racetracks.